Welcome back to the Dr. Rob Show. Joining me now is the mother of a young girl who is diagnosed with ADHD. Patty Gephardt is mom to Elena, and she's here now with me. You know, we love to meet with parents because other people can relate to your story. So tell us the story of Elena and you know, the journey and the struggles that you've gone through.
Okay, well, first I have to say she started out as an infant. She was typically developing, and everything seemed fine and good. So she got a little bit older, about 2 years old. I started seeing some issues. You know, there was a lot of toe walking, and she fell a lot. Her coordination, fine motor skills were not there. She had trouble staying in one place or focusing.
And she was language delayed, right?
Very language delayed.
Right.
And especially noticeable when we would do the play dates in the neighborhood. All the other kids were building stuff and had a crayon, and she was putting stuff in her mouth and in a corner, you know, by herself.
And all those things are really pretty obvious. Like toe walking, for instance, that really shows a neurological developmental issue. And it's not a heel problem, it's not a foot problem, it's not a leg problem, it's a brain problem. Now, did you raise these issues to some of the professionals that were seeing her, like pediatricians?
Absolutely, because to me it was like, people thought it was cute. And so there's nothing cute about your kid falling and hitting their head every day.
So were they concerned at all? Did they
validate your
concerns?
They took her foot and they moved it around and said, you know what, that's something kids do and they'll outgrow it, not to worry, give it some more time, everything else seems good.
But you had an older son, so you knew this wasn't normal.
Right, he didn't do this,
But they weren't listening to you. So what happened? I know that when you went to put her into kindergarten.
Yeah, there were some real issues because, you know, of her hyperactivity. She was pretty much all over the place, pretty much a distraction. They couldn't get her to sit still or focus, and they pretty much told me, listen, if you want her to stay in this environment, you're going to have to look into medicate her.
Right, and your husband wasn't happy.
Oh, no.
But eventually you got to get her into school, right? So you started medicating her, and how did that work out?
Well, that was very a struggle because different medications she had reactions to. It didn't work. It was too harsh. She was a zombie. She was, you know. And then we did find a medication that finally worked for her, but it was a long, hard struggle.
Right.
It was a lot of tears.
You said she started getting some OCD symptoms, which sometimes, you know, is also a side effect of medication. Tourette's and OCD can come about from that. So now I know that you went on and you tried a lot of things, right? Like you went to OT, PT.
Oh yeah, she got it in school, and we also did private because I'm thinking more is better.
Yes.
You only get so much in the school. And so we did the occupational, we did the physical therapy, we did the speech, we went, did tutors.
Right, because she still wasn't reading by 5th grade,
Still wasn't reading.
Wow. Did any of those things really make a significant difference?
They really didn't.
No.
You know, and I wasn't sure what the problem was because I went through, they were all referrals. So it was a really, you know, these people were supposed to be really great at what they were doing.
Right, and I'm sure they are, but you know, it's not, you have to write the right combination. So eventually you found the right program, which is good news, and you found out about Brain Balance, you found out about my work in the hemispheric-based program, and you enrolled her in there. And so how's that turned out?
It's been like night and day. I mean, I can't say enough. The progress has really been so impressive, and we're just so happy. I mean, she's conversational to us. She can tell us her thoughts. She's more, you know, inclusive in the classroom. You know, she's just a whole different little girl, you know, who's got things to share. She's funny. She's, you know.
Yeah, and she's doing better academically in
academically,
school.
she's doing so much better. Yes, she's reading better. She's following directions better. She's able to stay on task in a classroom setting, sitting.
Wow.
Well, there's a lot going on, and she's able to sit there and raise her hand when called on.
Well, you know, I think the really take-home message here is that you tried everything, and not everything is going to work. But if you keep on positioning, you find the right program. And I know that you had told me that you were kind of told that there's no hope, right?
Pretty much, people were saying like, "Good luck to you."
Right. Someone just patted you and said, "Good luck." Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you persisted, and again, that's a credit to you. It's great that our program was able to help you and help your daughter, more importantly, because her whole life will be different at this point. But what would you say to other parents?
That you know your child, and you can see these glimpses of them that no one else sees. and you know that they're in there somewhere.
Right.
You know, and there's a lot of information that you can get out. It's just finding the way to do it. And I just say, just don't give up that there is a program.
And never lose hope. Right?
Never
so
lose
thank
hope,
you
absolutely.
so much. I really
You're so
appreciate you so
welcome.
much for being here. Thank you for the story. Don't go away, because when we come back, spring break is just around the corner. Ahead, we'll show you some unique comic books and crafts that may help keep your little ones entertained when we return after the break. Welcome back to the Dr. Rob Show. Our next guests are Dave Kott, the founder of Autism at Face Value and the scriptwriter of Face Value Comics, which happens to be the first comic book to feature an autistic hero. And the artist for the comic book is Preston Sky Owen. Welcome very much, guys. This is very cool. I'm a big comic book fan. So I know that we were talking, and you got involved with this personally, really, because you were a therapist, and you're also diagnosed with autism yourself, but you've
Yes.
been a therapist and worked with kids for years.
Yes.
And then you got this idea because of social stories. So tell us about that.
Yes, what we do is, well, first and foremost, we believe that all kids need and want heroes like themselves. So we give a level of credit and compassion and dignity to clinical diagnosis of everything from autism to depression to anxiety. And we use facial feature recognition in our comic books. Readers can look at a character on the page, find a static frozen feature, look at the language and the speech bubble to understand what that character is genuinely saying, and then understand in the context of the story how that person may feel, what led up to that behavior, and what consequences those behaviors may be.
So that the idea of the social stories then led to the idea of doing a comic book with that.
Yes.
And then you had that idea, and then you found this gentleman who's the artist.
Yes.
And you heard about what Dave was doing?
Absolutely.
And what piqued your interest?
Well, when I received the direction from David and his wife Angela, she was the one who sought me out. He wanted characters to portray certain aspects of the human personality. And when I started designing the characters, he became enamored with my designs, and I was so infatuated with the stories. They were so intriguing that I couldn't just stop with just the characters. I wanted to actually help him tell this story.
Well, that's beautiful. This is the comic book. This is the first edition. So tell us about the comic book itself and why it's unique.
Thank you. The opportunity for kids to have something that they can hold and access for a relatively inexpensive price that's targeting them and their story, their experiences.
By then you mean that there are kids there are specific heroes with disabilities. Right?
Yes, yes. That readers can go ahead and look. It's not a collegiate textbook. It's not another therapist or doctor or teacher. They can use this comic book to begin to understand how they feel and other people also feel like they can be or how they have been in the past.
And you actually have a superhero who is autistic, is the first one, right?
Yes.
What's his name?
It's going to be the Zephyr.
The Zephyr.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
The idea behind the Zephyr is a rather long and complicated story, but the idea that characters can do a lot in our futuristic steampunk world. They fight in our futuristic world. We've cured cancers, we've other diseases, solved economic problems, but the biggest problem we still face is prejudice and misunderstanding.
Well, that sounds very true, and so you know, people will put the information up where people can find out. They can get these at stores. What we're going to do now, though, is now we're going to toss over to Carolyn, who has some unique and fun craft ideas for kids.
Thanks, Rob. You know, with lots of kids off for spring break, you're probably looking for stuff to do with the kids that's easy. My little friends Isabella and Trevor are here with me too, and we're going to show you some fun things to do at home with your kids that doesn't involve TV or computers. So here we have Isabella. What are you building? Yes, we have marshmallows and toothpicks, and believe it or not, your kids will sit for hours and make a lot of different molecules, and I mean, these are so cute. You could actually hang them from the ceiling, you can paint them, you can glitter them. We also have here tie-dye, which is a lot of fun to do. It's a little permanent, and I don't want to ruin your pretty dress here. You take a pillowcase, you take old shoes, you take daddy's t-shirt, you take whatever you want, you spray this on, and you stick it in the dryer, and it's permanent, and it's adorable. They can do their sheets, they can do their curtains, they can do anything. Most importantly, have a craft box always ready. When the kids are home and they're sick or there's a break or you don't know what to do with them, go to the dollar store, get magic markers, get sparkles, get glue, get paint. Always have paper on hand for the kids. It doesn't cost a lot, but they would much rather sit and do crafts than sit in front of the TV. I promise you. And one more note. This is casein and gluten-free, so if they want to munch on these marshmallows, all the best to them. Anyway, guys, what do you think? You're having fun? Do you like this? Yeah. Yeah. Give it a big yeah. Okay, I'll do it. Anyway, back to you, Rob. Thank you very much. Good job, guys.
Okay, so we're gonna say goodbye to Dave Cott from Autism at Face Value and Preston Sky Owens. Thank you so much for joining us. What you're doing is great. Really want to pursue this more and love to hear more about what you're doing for future stories. I hope people look this up. They can get you online and in stores. And again, what I want to say is on behalf of myself and my wife, Carolyn, I want to thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Remember that there's always hope.